Hi there. Welcome to the Lifestyle Herbalist podcast, where we hope to bring you a healthy dose of happiness. I'm your host, Dabney Vaccaro, clinical herbalist, health coach, lover of plants.
And I'm Sabrina Cooper, registered culinary holistic nutritionist and herbalist. Join us as we dive into the art of herbalism, mindfulness, and healthy lifestyle practices to help you achieve a happier and healthier life. Whether you're a seasoned herbalist or just starting your wellness journey, we're here to provide you with the insights, tips, and inspiration for a more balanced and joyful existence. So grab your favorite herbal tea, sit back, and let's get a healthy dose of happiness together.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lifestyle Herbalists. We're here today diving into a topic that's close to our hearts, herbs that support our lymphatic system and liver. These two systems are like the unsung heroes of our body. They work tirelessly behind the scenes to keep us healthy, energized, and toxin-free. But when they're sluggish or overwhelmed, it can show up in so many ways: fatigue, puffiness, skin issues, or just feeling stuck. In this episode, we'll explore some powerful herbs from Western herbalism that can help move and clear lymph, support liver detoxification, and bring balance to your body. We'll break down the energetics of these herbs, how they work, why they work, and how you can use them in your daily life. Whether you're new to herbalism or a seasoned plant enthusiast, there's something here for everyone. So let's get started. Hey, Sabrina.
Hey, Dabney.
It's
Been
back
a
to
while.
spring. Yes,
I
it's
know, in
time.
spring.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. The sun is out, the plants are emerging from the ground. There's a new birth. And springtime is this wood element that's associated with the liver. It's time to get up and get moving. Are you ready to get moving?
Yeah, well, I am. But yeah, it's a different type of movement, because we do try to move in the winter and we try to get, going. But when you're all cramped up and full of clothes and heaviness, it's just nice to like shed the layers in like reality, like the clothes, and just get out there, feel that warm air on you. And you just feel like I don't know, uplifted, but you can also feel like you just need to shed something. Like it's just, I feel like I just need to awaken myself, I feel like you just get a little stagnant.
Oh,
The
for
energy
sure.
is stagnant, right? And we had a lot of snow here. I know we've mentioned it in past podcasts if you've listened in. And finally, it's melting away. And like just being able to see the grass again, it's almost kind of surreal. You're like, oh, yeah, I forgot there are plants and grass under there. That's what happens in the spring. And so I guess it's sort of like us. Like once you take off your coat and your hats and your shoes and all that, the boots, I mean, you kind of are like, whoa, like I can actually like move again normally, right? With all this
Yes.
heaviness on us. And that's sort of what happens to the liver, doesn't it?
It does. It kind of gets stuck and stagnant. We're not moving like we normally would, even though we might have a gym membership or we're trying our best to do our workouts at home. It's not quite the same because our days are shorter, which means typically we do a little bit more couch setting, do a little bit more reading, maybe partake in more heavier type foods, maybe more comfort foods, even sometimes even more alcohol consumption. And all of that has to be processed through our liver. And so it's important in the spring to just get things moving again. And one thing that people don't really think of very often is our lymphatic system and how important that is. Our lymphatic system is supported by our immune system, and all of that works in tandem to move and nourish and keep us healthy. So even lymphatic system is very important to really consider during this time of year, just to clear things out and get things moving again. So what herbs do you think about when you think about just easy things that people can incorporate?
Well, I think like the main one that most people know is obviously dandelion,
Yes, it's a
right?
great one. And there's a reason it's so readily available in the spring. It's what we're supposed to use.
Yeah. And that's what I was just gonna say. I was gonna say that's the first thing that pops up like all over our lawns. Everybody's like like despises them, right?
Right.
And but that's like a sign that that's when you need to start incorporating dandelion into your regular routine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's great. And yeah, you can. It's yeah.
Even go out and pick the flowers and just pick out the little petals. I mean, you don't want the green part underneath because it's a little more bitter, but just
Yeah.
pull out the yellow parts of that flower and throw it in a salad. Pick out some of the greens and chop them up and put them in your salad, put them in your smoothies. They are so nutritious. And I mean, of course, you have to be careful that the lawn isn't sprayed or that you have a
Okay.
pet that's been using that for
Not
their
by the side of the
bathroom.
road.
Yes. So you want to be conscientious about where you get your dandelion, but it's so sad that I see people who fuss and carry on about the dandelions. And I thought, don't spray them. They're a beautiful sign of spring, and by May, mid-May, like they've done their job, like they've already reseeded themselves, and you won't even see them anymore. Like you'll forget they were ever there. Like you only see them because they have the yellow flower, and then they shoot up that seed pod, which everybody hates that seed pod. But it's just part of it. It's part of their process. And the early settlers brought them over because they knew how beneficial they were because they didn't have pharmacies. They didn't have
No.
hospitals. They had herbs,
Right.
and that's what kept
Exactly.
them healthy, and that's what healed them.
Well, that's where most of our medicine came from was trial and error. Some was really great and some obviously wasn't. But like dandelion is one of those that was fantastic. It's been in Chinese medicine for a long time as a healer, diuretic, detoxifying agent. And you know, even the root, right? You can dry the root. So it's one of those that you can use all the time. I mean, when we there was a time like we didn't have like there's a period where we don't have some dandelion. I like to throw it into my smoothies. My husband's like, "Why are you buying dandelion leaves?" And I'm like, "Because they're great in salad. If you don't have dandelion available, you can buy them, right?"
Yes.
And so it's just a nice bitter to add to your salads and smoothies, and I just love it. So it's really good because it reduces the inflammation and it helps the liver heal itself. So we want that in our world. They don't need to take a medicine or an actual pill. You can use plant-based things to help cure your body. And that's the fabulous thing about dandelion.
Yeah. Yeah, dandelion root is it's a liver tonic. It stimulates that bile production, and it aids in digestion and detoxification. It's a mild diuretic, and it helps to clear that excess fluid and supports our lymphatic flow. So the liver and this lymphatic system are kind of working in tandem with the dandelion because it helps both. So this is the root is the primarily is what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
yes, the whole plant of dandelion is medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if people know that, but the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like the heart. So it doesn't have something. So it relies on the muscle movement to like for the bodily to like and its various bodily functions to move the lymph. So that's why we need things to help it do this. So it's working, right? Like it gets going. And that's why dandelion is a perfect example of a herb that will help do this for the lymph and the liver and right. So
Absolutely. It's
yeah,
cooling, drying, and it's a bitter. And it's that bitter component that really helps that bile secretion to really get started. Back in the day, there used to be a salad that contained bitters to before you would eat. I mean, and even today's tradition, like if you go to a nice restaurant, you are typically served a salad, but we don't typically have bitters in them because people don't tend to like bitters anymore. We want everything sweet. So the lettuces over time have just gotten sweeter. They've been cultivated to be sweeter. But arugula is a great bitter, dandelion is a great bitter, and just adding some of those things to our digestive system prior to eating gets our stomach pumped and gets the bile flowing so that it really aids in our digestive system.
yeah. And that's why like even like I know like they had bitters that they would just serve you bitters actually sometimes even in a
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
cocktail or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that we are promoting alcohol, but that used to be a thing where they would open up your appetite
Yeah.
because that way you would get that again, everything moving and going so that your appetite was ready to have your meal um, right after, right? So sometimes they even say like apple cider vinegar will help that as well, like something bitter,
Hmm.
not like acid, like it kind of gets going, it gets everything start to work and the
Right.
bile and so that's also a really great thing. So that's why we really want to focus on getting all these bitters. And another one, Dabney, what's another herb that we can
Well,
use?
one that I really love is yellow dock. Um,
Hmm.
and yellow dot can actually be combined with dandelion root. So you can make your own bitter concoction. Um, it doesn't have to be necessarily a tea. Sometimes teas are a little labor intensive for people who are on the go. But if you're willing to put in the time it takes to make like a tincture, of course it's typically alcohol based, but you can make your own little uh, tincture bitter so that you can just aid in your own digestion by just taking just a dropper full just before you eat. And that will give you the bitter that you need to help your digestive system get going. And so I know when I was in herbal school, by afternoon, like we're starting, like our lunch is starting to kick in and we're starting to feel a little tired. Our herbal teacher would send us over to she called it to bitter bar. So
Oh,
she
that's
had a
good.
bitter bar and she had just tinctures over there that we could try. But bitters are actually stimulating. It not only stimulates the bile flow, but it actually gives you more energy. And so when you're feeling a little sluggish, taking a hit of bitters can be that just that little umph you need to get you through that afternoon crash when you're feeling like my carbohydrates are in, like my body is trying to digest my lunch and I'm feeling like I want a nap. So hitting the bitter bar is one way. So you can make your own bitter bar. It can be quite fun in doing that. But one of the ones that I love is yellow dock, and it's Ruminix crispus. It grows everywhere here in Virginia. It's a weed. It's absolutely everywhere, but it's the root of this particular plant that's used. It's cooling, it's drying, but it's also bitter. It's this liver and liver mover. So most of the liver movers are bitters, but it supports liver function. It clears heat, toxins from the blood, and it promotes also lymphatic drainage. It's a mild laxative and it helps in moving the waste out of the body. The other thing that's neat about yellow dock that I learned is that if for somebody who is anemic or kind of on the borderline, what yellow dock does is it encourages the liver to release red blood or iron. Actually, it encourages the body to or the liver to release iron into the bloodstream. So that will actually give you more energy as well.
Right. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And then I think like just because people might be like, well, what, how do you know? Like, why, like, how do you know that you need to detox the liver or give your body these herbs and foods to help the lymphatic system? And basically, as Dabney just mentioned, it's that get rid of that sluggish. So it's like you'll feel congested, sluggish. You might feel fatigued. Might have swelling. You might have increased
Susceptibility.
susceptibility to colds and infections. So your immune system might not be functioning as it should, right? So these are the things where you have that congestion feeling and you're like, oh, something just doesn't feel right. That's probably when you need to add in something to help get that lymphatic system going because it needs to eliminate those toxins and the waste. And perhaps your body is just overabundance of these things and it'll move things for you. So I just wanted to mention that so that people kind of are aware of what can be done. Like myself, right now, I feel congested. So I know that I need to like do something to support my liver and lymphatic system. I was away on a holiday. I know that there was probably like foods that I wasn't normally eating. And so I do feel a bit of this congestion, sluggishness that I haven't felt before I left, and you think you come back relaxed, but there's these things in myself that I know that I need to work on. So that's what I was doing today. And so one of the foods that I used in my smoothie this morning, which I posted on my stories, was that I added beets. I added some pineapple as well because it has bromelain in it that's supposed to help reduce with inflammation. But beets also is a food that is a detoxifying, so it can reduce the load on your liver. And it actually has betaine in it. Betaine? In it compounds, which
Mhm.
helps protect the liver when it's under like duress or stress. So these are things that you can incorporate. And it's basically I just added a couple raw beets to my smoothie. I didn't even steam them or anything like that. And I really love to incorporate beets on a regular basis. They're at least once a week in my repertoire. Beet soup or roasted beets, steamed beets. Very easy to do. If you don't feel like you have the time to wait, because they do take a long time, just throw them in. You can just put them in the oven, roast them ahead of time, put them in your fridge. That way they're easy to grab, and you can just put them into a salad, make a soup, whatever you need. And they're really, really great to
Yeah.
have your diet.
I'm with you. I have beets once or twice a week. It's on my weekly grocery list. I'm excited because I just put beet seeds in the ground.
Oh,
And so
nice.
it's the start of growing season here, the cool vegetables. So yeah, I can't wait to have my own beets at my in my garden. But in the winter time when I've run out of beets, and I do can some, but they're just not the same as fresh. I just love the fresh beets. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And they're
so
so versatile because you can I mean, not freeze it, you can shred them, you can bake them, you can, like I said, there's just so many ways to use them. And they're
yeah.
they're delicious,
And
right?
and again, it's a
Ones you
root.
don't,
Yeah.
it's a
So
root vegetable.
we've been talking about like the herbs, and it's the root of these herbs that are so beneficial. But beet
The
is a
tops.
root. Beet's a root. It's
Yeah.
the root vegetables that it's there's something about the roots and just being with the earth and just moving things. They're just so wonderful.
And you can use the tops as well. You can use the
Oh,
greens as
sure.
well. So
Yep.
that's another, like a whole, like, so again, it's the whole plant or whole vegetable
Yeah.
root you can use, right? So it's
Great.
amazing that it's one of those great ones to have, especially in the garden. So
Yeah. Yeah, another one. I don't know if you have cleavers. Do you have cleavers that grow in Toronto area?
we might have some probably in like the wild, like the forest area, maybe.
Yeah, gallium. It's
Yeah.
we call it cleavers. Well, it's cleavers because it really does stick. It cleaves to you, and it's a sorrel, so it has this.
All right.
It's a viney kind of smaller plant, but it's kind of viney. But I love cleavers. It's best used fresh. Don't try to dry it. It kind of loses its medicinal value when it's dried. But
Right.
again, it's a spring herb. It comes up in the spring, and it's great for clearing heat. So energetics of cleavers is cooling, drying. It's slightly bitter, but it's a classic lymphatic herb, and it helps to move the stagnant, which means lymph that's stuck. It reduces swelling. It clears heat from the body. It supports the liver by promoting detoxification. And it's a mild diuretic, and it's helpful in eliminating waste. Like I said, it's best to use it fresh. You can use it as a tincture. You can use it as a tea. It's best if it's taken consistently over time for the lymphatic congestion or a sluggish detoxification. And you can combine it with other lymphatic herbs like red clover or even calendula, which we'll get to here in just a moment. But yeah, cleavers, you want to use that one fresh.
Right. Because yeah, like you said, some herbs are more beneficial when they're fresh. Some you can use both ways, like fresh or
Mhm.
dried. Some you definitely would want to dry. So just be mindful of that. It's like ginger. Ginger's a warming herb. There is like the dried powder you can use if you're in a pinch. It does heat anyway because it's
Yes.
dried, it's spicy. You can add it again to a smoothie if you don't always want to have ginger on hand as a root and you don't feel like you're going to use it all the time. You can get dried ginger, which is pretty potent in itself. But that also helps promote movement of the lymph, and it also can aid in digestion. So another one that I really like to add into my smoothies in the morning or into foods grated, I grate it in there. So if you don't want big chunks of ginger that are too spicy, you can always just grate it off. A tip that you can use is put it in the freezer and then grate it. It will be easier to grate the ginger that way because sometimes it doesn't come off really easily. You can
Yeah.
peel it
Kind of
if you don't
stringy.
want to peel it, just scrub it really
Mhm.
well because it could be one of those dirty ones that you just make sure you know where you're getting it from. But it doesn't hurt. The skin's not going to kill you, so you're fine to do that as well. Same with beets. Beets you can scrub really well if it's from your garden. If you know where you can scrub them, just cut it and then put it in the oven. You really don't need to peel them as well if you don't want to because if you want to take that extra element and not make it messy, right? Because they can get messy. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, good
Um,
tip.
Yeah, and then calendula. Calendula is a great one. I add it into a lot of my tea blends as an extra because it's anti-inflammatory, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's just so nice. It gives like a nice little color to like some of your blends, and then also lymphatic. Dabney knows, right? You use it as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I do. Calendula is one of the plants. I just threw some calendula seeds in the garden as well. Last year, for whatever reason, they did not reseed themselves. So, but the year before, man, I had calendula, and it's one of those beautiful flowers, and they're easy to grow. Like, just
Yeah,
throw them in the on the top of the ground and just cover them lightly. Like, they'll grow, and the more you cut them, the more they give you. Like, they're such a giving plant, and it's such a great herb. You can use it as a tea. It moves blood. It's a stimulation, but it also is a great vulnerary, which means it's excellent for skin. It
yeah.
makes skin just look radiant inside and out. So it's just a wonderful plant. It's very easy to grow herbs. And Sabrina and I, we have found that some herbs are just easier than others, but just take the chance and become your own herbalist and be the one that your family goes to when they're looking for remedies. But
Make your own pharmacy.
yeah, your own pharmacy. Yeah. The energetics of calendula is that it's warming, it's drying, it's slightly bitter. But calendula is known to really stimulate lymphatic flow. It reduces inflammation, it supports the liver detoxification. And it, like I said, it has an affinity for the skin, making it useful for skin conditions related to the lymphatic stagnation. It's beautiful and tastes great as a tea. You can use it as make a tincture with it. I use it as I infuse an oil and I make my calendula facial cream. And I use it for some of my salves as well. So it's very easy to use
Versatile.
calendula. And it's so beautiful, like it's orangey yellow, and it's uplifting for the heart. It's just a little ray of sunshine, in my opinion. Love it. Love calendula. And it's officinalis. Officinalis at the end of the botanical name means it's an official herb that was used when there was no pharmacies. It was part of the doctor's toolkit when they came to do house calls.
Which is amazing
Cool.
because it's such a great topical for so many things too. Like,
Oh,
right, like a
yes.
lot of like it's better than like a polysporin sometimes, or one of those things you can just add to burns and whatnot. I
Oh,
feel right.
yeah. Right. And I think I may have mentioned before, I have a friend that had a pretty gnarly injury on both hands. And she put the topical application that the doctor told her to use. And I sent her some of my calendula salve. And the salve healed it so that you can barely see it. And the other one it was still in the healing process.
Yeah,
So
it's
um,
amazing.
it's just amazing. And it will help old scars look less noticeable.
So it's like, it's hard sometimes to know people. How do you know these herbs are working, or what do I know, or how? Because you'll know, like you'll start to feel um that stagnation gone. The congestion will dissipate because it's just like your skin, like Dabney was just saying, which reminded me to mention, is like you can see when something's healing on your skin. So if it's healing your skin that quickly, all these herbs are also doing the same thing on your inside. They're healing the where they're supposed to heal. So you may not be able to see it, but your body knows, and you'll eventually know because you're going to heal from the inside out. So eventually you'll be like, wow, I don't really feel stuffed up anymore, especially now coming into allergy season, which is a whole different topic we could probably talk about in a week or so, have another podcast. But it's the same thing. Like you don't need to take the prescription medications. You can help with herbal remedies if you start soon enough. And yes, it takes a little more time. It's sometimes not instant, but isn't it better than putting something that you don't know chemically based into your body, heal naturally? So these are the things. This is why we were doing this podcast so that you can learn little tidbits and perhaps add these little things into your repertoire to support.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for that, Sabrina. Very true.
I just thought I'd throw it in.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. The other one I was just mentioning was red clover, trifolium. So the energetics of red clover is that it's cooling, it's moistening, and it's slightly sweet, which is different from what we've been talking about. How it works is that red clover is a blood purifier and a lymphatic mover. It helps clear toxins from the blood and lymph. It supports liver function and it's rich in minerals and phytooxygens. So you can find red clover everywhere in Virginia because we are very much an agricultural state. Um, but you just want to be careful that you're getting it from a good source. You certainly don't want to go pick it up in a field where there's a bunch of cattle, or
Well,
along the park where dogs might be, using the bathroom.
urinating.
But it's wonderful. And I use it actually in some of my women's blends too, because it's great for women's health in
Yeah.
particular with perimenopause, menopause, menses, and all of that. So red clover is nourishing too. It's actually a good food.
And when does it usually come up? In the spring.
Yes, it does. Yes,
Right?
it does.
It's the one, in case people are wondering, clover. Well, you know what like a clover is, but it has the little kind of purpley flower on the top, and it has like the clover leaves. So it's the
Mhm.
same thing as a dandelion. You see them pop up, and then you'll just probably that's when you go look for the four-leaf clover, usually. Um, so those are the ones that's kind of, and it has like a little white in the leaf, sort of, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
just so people are aware that you can
Yeah,
use those
it's not
as
the
well.
clover that's typically growing in your lawn.
Right.
Kind of take over. The leaf is a little larger, and like Sabrina said, it's got like the white little
Yeah.
um, coloring inside of the green. But eventually, it gets this little beautiful pinkish, purplish flower.
Flower.
It's called red clover, but it's more pink slash purple in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Like a mauve,
Yeah, right. It's more mauve. It's mauve.
mauve,
But
mauve. Yeah.
um, cows love it. Cows eat
Yeah.
it. They know it's healthy. They'll munch it right
Yeah.
on down.
And yeah. And sometimes they do like, don't they do, is this the same clover? I'm not sure. I'm just throwing, and Dabney might know better than I, but don't they kind of alternate sort of agriculturally? They can grow clover to put nutrients into the
Yep,
soil,
cover crops. Yep.
cover
So they
crops, a
yeah, they
cover
do
crop,
cover
right?
crops.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put cover
Yeah.
crops
Of
in. So
clover.
yeah, then they'll mix it in. Um
Right.
yeah, to get the
So
benefits of the
So there
mineral.
you go. Again, see, they're using it to put nutrients into the soil. So why don't we put nutrients into our own bodies, right? So
Right?
there you go. There's another way that you can see that things are working. So they'll probably have the same effect on your body, right?
Yeah.
So these are some of the things that we, feel. Also, you just want to make sure you're staying hydrated. So always, besides some of the herbs, you want to make sure your diet, staying hydrated, flushing out all the toxins that you're releasing, right? So always drink water. That always helps move the lymph effectively. I like to throw in some chia seeds in there as well because that pulls out a lot of things from your body. So chia seeds is a great thing to add to your water, just, exercising, moving, walking, getting out there, yoga, something gentle on your off days. I mean, we love strength training, but you also need to get moving and stimulate circulation. And then also another one, I don't know if you do it, Dabney, but dry brushing with a dry brush, your
Yeah.
skin to get
Very
rid of all
beneficial.
that. It's very
Mhm.
beneficial to move the lymph and
Yes.
stimulate that drainage from your body. You're always going to go away from your heart, away from your heart. So
Yeah.
you just want to get rid of it all.
Mhm.
And massages are great,
Oh,
if you can't go for
sign
one, maybe
me
ask
up.
your partner for one
Sign
or
me
so,
up.
right? So it's always good to, and then some of them, and some massage therapists will also offer like the lymph
Right.
massage. So they
Hmm.
focus on only that. It's not just therapeutic, but like, body massage, but they focus on moving that lymph. And it's really great to do, especially this time of the year. Highly recommend these things for you to do and incorporate them into your regular routine. So, just a few other extra things that you can do to help that lymph get going so that you can feel your best going into like summer months.
Absolutely. Well said. When I was having a facial a couple of weeks ago, the esthetician was massaging lightly, and she told me later that she was doing some lymphatic moving on my body while I was waiting for like my mask to dry or something like that. So, you know, you can find it in different therapies. So massage is great, but sometimes estheticians will throw it in there too.
Yeah, there
But
you go.
at the end of the day, you want to get that lymph moving. You want to clear that liver. It's just going to help you have a little happier step in your stride, I would say. If you're feeling fatigued, bloated, tired, just not sleeping well, I mean, just think about the promoting sleep. Like if you can get your body functions going well, then you're going to sleep better. It has that whole systemic whole um, health well-being that you're going to notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love this topic. And I mean, we could go on forever about the liver because it's such a great one. There's so many things to talk about, like even like we didn't touch upon it, but like, liver disease and things like that that you might non-alcoholic liver disease, but that might be we'll probably segue into that in one of our future podcasts because I think it's another important topic to talk about. Um, but we have a lot coming up in store for you, and we're excited for the next couple months. It's going to be fun. We have a great lineup, so
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy spring. Enjoy the equinox that we just had. And yeah, try some of these liver herbs. They're pretty easy to do, but if it's a barrier for entry, stop by your herb store, inquire about liver tinctures or maybe some tea blends that can help you. I know in the Canadian area, like reach out to Sabrina, like she's got some beautiful tea blends that she can offer. I've got a few things that I can offer on my website as well. So we are
Here in
herbalists.
Virginia,
Yeah, in
an
Virginia.
area,
Yep.
United States, she ships, so she can
Yep.
ship out to you as well.
Yep.
Ship out.
So we're here to help support you. We want you to find um, a little dose of happiness in your life and to live better longer. So until next time.
You'll have your healthy dose of happiness.
Yes. See ya.